From the Owens Student Media Center and heard on Outcast OCCR, Owens Community College Radio, it's Dennis Hobson and Dion Thompson. Dennis and Dion, your hosts for The Double D Show. The Double D Show. Along with co-host Eben Corin. The Double D Show. The Double D Show.
Hello and welcome to the Double D Show. We're here today joined by Dante Leone of GF Team Jiu-Jitsu. He's going to talk a little bit to us about today what it's like to be a world champion.
I'm Dion Thompson, of course, as always.
And I'm Dennis Hobson.
And we got a guy who I have known ever since he was a baby, literally. Dante Leone. He's a world champion. He's here in Toledo, Ohio, part of the famed GF team. Dante, I want to talk a little bit about what has it been like living here in Toledo, and talk a little bit about the training and some of the things you have coming up.
So Toledo's not really considered like the hotbed of jiu-jitsu, that's for sure. So, definitely when we tell a lot of people that this is where our camp is, this is where we're training, this is where we're living, a lot of people in the community are pretty surprised by that. But I think we have a good thing here. I think a lot of people look down on the Midwest. I think the Midwest has, what every other city has, what every other region in the U.S. has. We got a lot of good things here, but we got a great team here, a great core of guys. We keep the focus really well, and we train hard, and we're all working towards that one goal. That's to be black belt world champion and have a career through jiu-jitsu. So right now, we're just basically on a mission right now. We're training hard every day. We're working hard. We're working in unison to reach a final goal together.
Why Toledo?
Funny, but yeah, exactly. That's always the question, right? But basically, the opportunity was here. I met Kelly Highmore. I've known Kelly since I was 12 years old. Was looking to advance my career when I was at the blue belt, purple belt level. Had the opportunity to come here, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. First, we started something here. Just the two of us together. Later, Gutenberg Pereira came, Max Gimenis, Mauricio Oliveira, and then we made the team here, and then basically we just have the team here now, and we're just working hard.
So take us a little bit through, because I want to talk about the training, because I was reading up a little bit about it, and that stuff is just crazy intense. So just give us just a typical day-to-day, what's your routine?
Yeah, so tomorrow what's going to happen is, wake up pretty early, around 7:30. Get ready to go lift at 8:30. So we lift weights, maybe come home or go grab something to eat. Then we're back in the gym again to do drills. So we drill different positions, different techniques, and then we just train. Basically, when we train, we just beat the snot out of each other 5 times a week. That's pretty much it. We just like live wrestling, just like live training, right? That's just like jiu-jitsu. So we just beat each other up, and that just happens 5 or 6 times a week, so that's pretty much it. So the weekends usually is just take it off.
It's not good for business. It's just black girls. I don't want guys thinking, we beat guys up.
This is for us. This is for the four of us. You know what I mean? This is for whoever wants to be at the level. When anybody else in the gym, that's the time to.
Yeah, you're trying to lose some students.
Different, right?
But like you say, he's got a good group of guys who he trains with, and what's crazy, they go out to the Pans, Worlds. We take guys out there too. He competes, like you said, the highest level. It would be like comparatively to any other pro sport, like boxing, the top. But they're fortunate to have 4 guys who are world champs. That's what you kind of don't see, I think, in boxing camps, which you may not see in other sports, individual sports. Yeah, together. Everybody's together. Those guys get a chance to keep each other sharp and to go over positions. Dante, what is it like teaching? Because you're young to teach, man. I'll be honest with you. You and I are doing the same thing here, basically. You're a competitor. How do you turn that switch off?
Yeah, so you hear me talk about how our training is. You know what I mean? I'm sure you guys understand. You guys play sports your whole life. It gets intense, especially at the high level. But there's you gotta change gears a little bit when it's in a class setting or when you're teaching a seminar or trying to train with students or things like this. You gotta change gears, Not everybody's there to do what we do. But I believe that if you do what we do, you have to be able to teach and express the technique and be able to share with people what you do. Otherwise, you don't really understand your art, you don't really understand your sport, you know. So I think to be a great athlete, a great competitor, you got to be able to understand the ins and outs of the game and be able to teach.
Don't jump on me, man. Don't leave me across the table and jump on me about this next question I'm gonna have. I need to know the difference between jiu-jitsu and wrestling.
Okay.
Because when I see my good friend, little brother here, posting pictures or a live video, it seems like he's wrestling. Now, I want to know what the difference is.
Go ahead.
So basically, wrestling is just like takedowns and control on the ground once it hits the mat, right? You're just trying to control. The difference with jiu-jitsu is you're not only trying to control, you're trying to make your partner tap out, you're trying to submit your opponent. Also with jiu-jitsu, you have a lot of different things you can do from your back. In wrestling, once you're on your back, you're in a lot of trouble.
I think that's the key. That's the key point
Yeah.
with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You can fight on your back, like you said. So wrestling, we get pinned. But Jiu-Jitsu, there's still so many things you can do. And one of the things I personally like about Jiu-Jitsu, if I could jump in, I tell everybody this, I don't knock any other combat sport, but I've always said this, and Dante, tell me if you agree. You can walk into a boxing gym and swing for the fences and accidentally catch somebody. You are not going to walk into a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym, never having trained, and accidentally submit one of us or guys. It just doesn't happen. You know, guys learn. And that, to me, that's the beauty of it. That's the technical part. And that's I think it's a thinking man's art. Would you not agree?
For sure. I mean, you know, you hear a lot of people say it's like human chess, and to get a black belt in jiu-jitsu is the equivalent of earning a PhD in school, how long it takes and how much training, you know. It's tough. It's something that for a lot of people is completely unnatural. It's something they never thought their body could do. It's something they never thought was natural.
To the list. I was a basketball player, you know.
Yeah,
But
you long and tall. Like
Well,
some,
but you know what I like about it for a guy my age, you know, it still gives me an opportunity to stay in decent shape, to have an opportunity to learn something and actually coach it. Because jiu-jitsu is different to me because with other sports, there are guys that coach and they don't have to show that they can actually do it, that they have to perform it. I think in jiu-jitsu, that's where it's different. You know, a lot of the times the coaches, they have to be able to perform. Now, can I get people the guy that said, no way. But I'm sure Dante, me being a black belt, he understands that I understand jiu-jitsu. I understand how to teach it. I understand how to teach the principles and train. So,
what is a, okay, in wrestling you have a takedown, okay, or a pin. What is the, how do you win is it a match?
Yeah.
It is.
How do you win a match? How do you win the match?
So like basically what happens is there's points for different things that you do, right? Like a takedown in jiu-jitsu is points. Passing somebody's guard, like passing their legs, holding them in side controls, points, different things like this. But if you wanted to end the fight, like a knockout in jiu-jitsu would be a submission hold that makes the guy tap. So a choke hold, a joint lock on the elbow, shoulder, knee, anything like that.
So when he taps, that means he can't come
yeah,
back.
yeah, it's over. The fight's over.
He's
It's a knockout.
admitted that
Okay.
he's
Yeah, I'm
beat,
done.
that's it.
Okay.
You know, and but see, that's also the beauty of the art too, because in boxing, you know, man, you don't want to just walk around and get knocked out and wake up. Here you can say, okay, and it happens to everybody, and Dante will tell you that too. Everybody who's ever done jiu-jitsu has experienced that tap, that defeat, you know, and it's a humbling art. Would you not agree?
Yeah, I think that's what's beautiful about it is, no matter what the training is, whether it's in a class setting, whether it's just for fun, or whether it's doing what we do, we can go hard, we can go light, but we can put each other in a submission hold, something that could be, you know, devastating if there wasn't the tap allowed, if it was a different situation, a self-defense situation, and we can tap and start the round again or start the round over just like nothing. You know what I mean? With no injury, no nothing. So
It's one of the things I know people think is crazy. After that happens, you see guys shake hands.
Right.
You know, like, just giving the guy credit. Hey man, you caught me. It's a good move. Dante, I want to ask you this too. Living here versus living in Canada, is there much of a difference? You know, in America, is like are things different? I know we don't have as many Tim Hortons or whatever.
yeah, not even close. Unless you get one on every corner, you're not gonna be close. Yeah, there's a.
What was the adjustment for you?
It's so close, right? If you go to drive to Windsor, it's less than an hour away, you know, door to door. But there's a lot of differences. It's a different country. I found that there's not as much opportunity in Canada where I live for the things that I do. Jiu-Jitsu, sponsorships through Jiu-Jitsu, seminars, traveling, teaching, competitions. When you look at the competitions and things, there's almost none in Canada.
So why do you think that is?
I think Canada's just kind of had a different focus through sports, kind of had a different focus. You have to remember that Canada has a landmass bigger than the U.S., but we have the population of like the state of California or something like that in the whole country, right? So there's going to be a lot more diversity in everything here in America with as many people are here, right?
So in the U.S., because you said Toledo's not a huge jiu-jitsu market, so
Yeah.
what would be those bigger markets in the U.S.?
Bigger markets are California, Florida, the
So
Far
like
East
LA,
Coast.
Miami.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, you're like typical.
Yeah,
cities.
so what's going to happen is like, when the Brazilians immigrate over here, California, Florida's similar weather, similar climate, a lot of, just a lot like home, you know what I mean? So that's what happens. Midwest, these Brazilians, man, they don't like cold too much. It's tough. for
the
them when
people
they
in the
first
Midwest
get
don't
here.
like the cold.
I'll tell
I
you
can
what,
tell you that.
which is why we have to, Chris Blanky was a guy that actually brought jiu-jitsu, I know, to Toledo, and he had Solomon Shanji. He was a guy that I know Dante and I we started off with, and that sort of thing. But Dante, we want to thank you so much, man. We wish you so much continued success.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for coming on
Hey,
the
man,
show.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Dennis, we appreciate
Same
you,
here,
man.
same here.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah, man, it's great
Thank
to meet
you,
you.
man.
I'm gonna have to start
Yep.
checking out some of this stuff soon because
Look at
after
his
talking
stuff,
to
man.
Todd, too,
Yeah,
it's
for
so
sure.
cool. Like
For
it's,
sure.
it's so interesting, and
This
just
guy's
the
amazing.
conditioning alone is unbelievable. So
Yeah.
we want to hear your guys' thoughts. So check us out on Facebook and Twitter. You can find us on Facebook at Owens Student Media Center, and on Twitter it's at Owens OCCR.
How you define success is really up to you.
For me, it's helping to make the world run.
That's one way.
Or making a living as an artist.
And that's another.
Hiring someone out of college with the right skill set.
Graduating, and without all that college debt.
You're on a roll.
Living my dreams.
Now that's success. Your success starts here. Owens Community College.
You recycle, right?
Yep, it's confusing. It's hard for all of us to recycle properly when it's this confusing. Yet recycling is the #1 thing we can do for the environment and the economy. If we do it properly, we have a solution. And it's working.
Standardized labels, they help people recycle more, and they help people recycle right. Let's recycle across America, and let's recycle right.
To be part of the standardized label solution, visit letsrecycleright.org.
I got good sea legs from a year of trying to find my footing. And I'm missing my home even more than I should. Forget all the lessons we learned, you should have been good to me. Forget all the lessons.
When you download music illegally, you're stealing from musicians, songwriters, and people like Addie, who are denied payment for work that is rightfully theirs. Do what's right. Get it legally.
Success can be hard to define.
Making a living while making a difference.
Okay, maybe not so hard.
Hiring the very best people and giving them a place to shine.
Graduating with almost no debt.
I'm sensing a theme here.
Landing a great job right here in Northwest Ohio.
Loving what I do and doing what I love.
So actually, success is easy to define. Your success starts here. Owens Community College.
We got another member of the GF team joining us at the table, world champion Max Gimenis. Max and I met a few years ago, 2014. He actually came, won the tournament here in Toledo. Max, you have an interesting story. You come from a place called the Caxanga in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Now you're in America. Can you talk a little bit about that experience and what's it like being here in America training jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, of course. And I'm born in Rio de Janeiro, but my family moved to Espírito Santo, one part the north Brazil, and don't have a lot of jiu-jitsu, don't have a lot of schools, and I see a big opportunity in Rio de Janeiro for get a good career, you know, and the sport. And they talk about this with my first coach. And yeah, okay, move here, I got one university for you. And then back to Rio de Janeiro, start training, but they don't have a lot of support, you know, and Julio, oh, you want to live in the gym? No problem. And
so you lived in the gym, for people to understand, you lived actually in the gym
in the thing, yeah.
where you train. It's a good story on Flow Grappling. If you guys get the opportunity, you guys can kind of see where he lived at. He's sitting down right now. He's making Dennis and I look even smaller than we are. But what do you like about, what's the difference between here, or excuse me, Brazil and America for you?
For training, same, you know, I have tough trainings here. I think now more tough than in Brazil. The team here is good, but my day here more easy.
Okay.
I work, eat, I live just for training, you know what I mean? And in America, in Toledo here now, I got a one easy day, just make jiu-jitsu, train, lift, eat, and
that's like a pro athlete.
How long have you been involved with the sport? Now, wait a minute, let me back up a little bit. Dion said you won a championship at your tournament?
Yeah, but he's won bigger world champions. I'm just a local.
My question is, you didn't pin him to win the championship. you didn't do that, did you?
That'd be easy, man. Come on.
No, but how long have you been involved with the sport?
I think 12 years.
Okay, 12 years.
It's a long time. And start young.
Well, how old are you now?
25.
Oh,
so he's
wow.
still a young guy.
Yeah.
And he says 12 years is young.
Is he growing this way as well when he gets older?
Yeah, man. He wasn't this big when I saw him.
Okay,
See, they lift a lot of weights.
That surprises me though that it was at so you started when you were 13. Yeah. Is there a lot of people who usually start younger, or is that like a typical age to start really training?
No, I start really training, tough, like for competitor. I make it 15 years, but in Brazil and here in America too, a lot of kids start for just got a shape and self-defense. Jiu-jitsu good for self-defense. You got one thing.
Max, I've been trying to get my buddy to come and try a class. He won't come with me. Maybe he'll come with you. Can you tell him?
That won't, not at night when you're 25. You're 25 and I better not say how old I am. No, probably not.
But the thing about it, they know how to train, you know, but I think it's, once again, and it's so crazy because people find it, we have different schools, but we support each other. I support what they do. You know, he supports what we do, and we're trying to make the whole sport grow. I think we're lucky to have, like him, got Dante, you haven't met Gutenberg and Mauricio, there's 4 horsemen. 4 of the best guys in the world in Toledo, Ohio, and young guys. That's why I wanted to get you guys here to, you know, want to talk about that. I think that's nice. How often do you go back home? Do you get to go back home much?
2 times a year. And probably afterwards, got one big camp, you know, January and March for Panamis, and he start again for Worlds, and afterwards go to Brazil.
So just to break that down, so the Pan Ams are in March. So he's here January through March, and then the Worlds are July. And then he gets to go back. Okay, what was your first, have you ever seen snow before you came here?
No.
How are you dealing with that? I'm not going to ask your buddy, he's from Canada. He's
sorry, but it's terrible. It's terrible. In Brazil, it's pretty hard all year, you know, and here, more part of the year is cold. It's crazy for me. And first time I see snow, it's fine. Okay, but second day I'm hate. Oh my God, I'm back to Brazil tomorrow.
Dion, I mean, you can jump in as well. Okay, you have the sport, and then you have self-defense. Now, if you're taking is there like, do you train the same thing if somebody's trying to learn for self-defense? Is it the same type of training?
Very similar, but there are certain techniques that you can use for self-defense that you can't use for the sport. You know, but
it's illegal in the sport.
Yeah, like for example, there's just certain things, like I would never take you down, get on top of you and punch you or something, or you're not gonna hit me with a bat in a match, or things like that, or, you know, so you learn the whole spectrum. I'm sure they do it that way. Like I said, they got some great students over there, they got great teachers, and to be that young, being able to teach and compete, is that hard?
It's hard. And I think for more hard, the time you don't stay in the gym, but now have four coaches and more easy make times.
Because as an athlete, Dennis, and you've coached, and one of the things I know, to be a good coach, I feel like sometimes to be a good competitor, you have to be selfish. Those guys, and it's selfish in a good way, because they gotta diet, they gotta train, and then to turn it all the way down and have guys come in and teach, that has to be difficult, but you guys seem to be doing well. You're putting out some good young competitors.
Make a good schedule and separate days the guys teach, and have good staffs in the gym, and this make more easy, but it's hard. A couple of times you tire, you just need to rest, but you need to go to the gym for teaching.
Hey, one more question. When was the first time when you drove in the snow? Did you like driving?
I drive, yeah.
It's probably different, huh?
It's different, but I drive a big car, one truck, the first time, and more easy.
Okay.
I'm curious, so had you learned much English at all in Brazil, or did you learn most of it here in the US?
I'm start talking English, I think, 5 months.
Oh, wow.
5 months ago from now?
That's amazing.
Wow.
That is amazing. To be able to come here and understand.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I just need to say sorry, don't have a lot of words. But
So do you usually just try to, because I've always heard the best way to learn a language is to speak to people locally who just, because it's always harder to be able to produce the words, at least I've thought so, than it is to kind of interpret what someone's saying to you. So I guess, do you take both aspects of that, or do you think just listening to other people helps you learn more?
I think I listen, and I listen to songs too, and I learn more, you know.
What type of songs? Some rap songs, right? You don't learn the wrong. You hang out with Dante,
I learned bad words too.
Yeah, see, don't do that. But no, I think you're right. So you didn't learn any English they don't teach that in the schools?
No, in schools teach too, but you have the option learn Spanish or English. You know, Spanish more easy.
Well, it's close to Portuguese.
I'm kid and I need to study the Spanish, but for my kids, all kids study English because I see the English is language universal. All words talk English, you know, and now I see big importance.
My instructor, Caprito, when he first moved over here, about 12 years ago now, and he had a kid, it was weird because what he would do, they spoke Portuguese in the house, and I said, well, why do you do that? You're an American. I said, because he's going to learn English anyway, because he's out, you know, schools and things like that. And now his kid's like 11, speaks both languages really well, you know, so.
Well, I give you a lot of credit because over in Spain, over in Spain and over in France, now I played in big countries over there, but I mean big cities over there. But it was tough for me to learn. Like you saying, looking and that's tough for me.
Really?
It's a struggle. Yeah, it's a struggle.
Did you pick up phrases as you were there, though?
Yeah, you pick up phrases, but it's just tough. I mean, so I give him a lot of credit to just understand and learn English because it was tough for me. It made it easy. You know what? I was being selfish because a lot of people over there speak English, so when I talk, they would talk back. Okay. And I should have been trying to learn because I'm telling you, I had some teammates that may have been American, and they may have married somebody that was a Spanish girl or a French girl, and what they did was when they had kids, was one would talk to them in that language, in the English language, and then the other one would talk to them in the other language. And you're right, those kids picked up both languages.
Wow.
Yeah, so but for me to try to learn and pick up, it was always tough.
So Max, what are your goals coming up this year for Jiu-Jitsu?
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. That's all right.
All right,
Like I say, you've had some good tough matches. And in your division, he fights in the ultra heavyweight division.
You can tell.
Black belt division. But with that being said, though, Max, we want to thank you. He said this was more nerve-wracking than actually fighting a world championship.
You're all right, man. You're
I find out of it later. See, look at the sweater. Palms nervous. So with that, so when I come to your gym, don't beat me up.
No,
Take it easy on the old guy. You know, we want to thank you and Dante for coming out
Thank you.
and helping us out with this show.
Yeah, if you see these guys out and about in Toledo, definitely stop and say, hey, they're awesome guys, super cool to talk to. If you have any questions, you got to bounce it off because we could sit here all day long talking to these.
And their gym, they have two gyms, GF Team Perrysburg, and there's GF Team out there in off Monroe Street, and Sylvania, Ohio. Check these guys out.
All right, we got to run, so we're going to get out of here quick. But check us out on OCCR and look us up on YouTube at Owens Student Media Center.
An Outcome Owens Student Media Center production.